can't believe that Alexa and Siri and all of these Google assistants and all of these assistants that have essentially been the AI that we've worked with. I can't believe that they're being left behind by what is essentially a newcomer. I think if we don't see these, like Microsoft really dove in and upgraded Bing with ChatGPT, I think if Alexa and Siri and all these programs don't upgrade to AI, then they're done for.
Welcome to the Angel Investment Research Podcast. I'm Luke Burgess. I'm filling in for Jason Stutman this week. With me today is Luke Sweeney. This is the Luke and Luke show today, I guess. Yeah?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And for listeners who don't know, Luke Sweeney is one of our editors here at Angel Publishing. He writes for Energy and Capital as well as Outsider Club. Anything I'm missing?
No, that's it. Yeah.
Awesome. So, Luke, I wanted to ask you about AI today. I want to talk to you about AI. I want to talk about how to invest in it. I want to talk about should I invest in it. But first, I have a question. How sick are you of hearing, Luke, I am your father?
Man, that's one of those things that I guess you get numb to
Yeah.
after a while. But
Yeah. How old are you?
27.
27. Yeah, so you're going to hear this your whole life. I promise you it's never going to stop.
Yeah, there's been a resurgence in Star Wars lately.
Yeah.
So that hasn't helped. But,
Awesome.
Okay,
so AI. We're both writers. One thing a lot of people are talking about, particularly writers and artists, or one thing that they're concerned about, they're worried about is their job is going to be taken. Are you concerned at all that you're going to be replaced by some kind of AI program?
I have to say I'm not. I don't wake up in a cold sweat over it every night, but I have to say I'm a little bit more concerned about it recently with ChatGPT and all of the AI programs coming out. I think I'm a little bit more confident that it's going to be like an upgrade, just like a new, like in the same way people thought that factory machines were going to mean the end of all labor, and I think it's going to be more of a tool to upgrade your job.
Yeah. Do you use it now?
Yeah, I use it occasionally for not. I don't use it as much, I think, as some other sectors of I don't know how to explain what I'm saying. I think I use it more as like to bounce ideas off of. Like, it's really helpful to just put in a prompt and just listen to what the AI has to say. If it has a good line or two, then maybe use that. But it's more just, I think it's helpful to kind of expound on.
Yeah, I use it the same way. I don't think there's no way that you can just give it a prompt and it's going to spit out an article.
And give you exactly. We're not to the point where I can say, write me an article about the best energy stock, and it's just gonna, it'll try its best, but it's not quite there yet.
It's not quite there. Do you think it will be?
I think so. Eventually, I think given enough development, anything is possible. I think if you go back, we're at a point where if you go back 10 years ago and asked someone if they thought a program like ChatGPT would ever exist, I think they would probably say the same thing. Like, yeah, probably it's possible, but it sounds crazy. I think at this point now we've seen how it can be. We've seen the bare minimum of the idea. Now at this point it's all just optimization and improvement.
Yeah.
So yes, to long answer to the short question, yes, I do think that we're going to get to a point where it's human-like.
So it started off, I guess, with the image generators, the Dall-E, and now it's ChatGPT. I keep calling it ChatGDP.
Yeah. That's
and
ironic.
The next evolution is obviously text to video.
Mm-hmm.
I sent you an article earlier today from
cool.
Gizmondo.
That was cool.
What is the next step after that? Do we hit a wall with text to video or prompt to video?
So possibly. I think if we were to hit a wall there, it's going to be years in the future, because if anybody has seen the video that he's talking about, it's not quite there yet. I mean, the idea is fleshed out. We can see, they've proven that these programs can take text and give out a video, but like I went through to the examples, and some of them, like a guy was surfing and like halfway through it his entire torso was rotated around the other way, pandemic, and then it just like jumped back to being normal. So we're not. I mean, it's tough to say we're in danger of hitting a wall when we haven't even really like. I think the next decade, to bring everything to a point, the next decade is going to be defined by optimizing what we already have. I think. I think there's been like a rollout. Like we rolled out the whole suite of options. The text to audio, the text to whatever form you now want your text to be in. Like they're there. They're not perfect, but they're there.
Yeah.
So I really think it's going to be about making them better, as opposed to who knows, maybe we'll find another thing after text to video. But I think I don't know. I think not to go too deep into this one question, but I think overall the end result of this is like a fully functional AI assistant in your pocket, essentially. Like Jarvis from Iron Man, or Samantha from Her, or Joy from Blade Runner 2049, or 100,000 other sci-fi examples. You basically have a super intelligent, fully functional human assistant that lives in your phone. That we can talk to naturally. It remembers what you talked to, what you said to it yesterday. It knows your schedule, so it can wake you up without an alarm and saying your meeting is ready today. It'll be like, hey Luke, you have a meeting today, right? And then follow up with an inside joke that it that references something a week ago. So I don't know. I think that's that's a lot of computing power there, but
Kind of scary and exciting at the same time.
yeah, definitely. I think that's going to be a defining characteristic of AI. Is whichever way you look at it, it's either terrifying or exciting.
You kind of touched on this earlier, but as a kid, did you think that the AI technology would be where it is today? Right, that's it. Do you think it'd be where it is today?
I think so. I don't know. I think I've always been kind of like a sci-fi kid or whatever, as evidenced by my rapid fire examples of AI assistants. But I think so. I don't know. It may be just to like the limited, in a kid's mind, like a computer but smarter. I think maybe is probably how I thought of it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I saw like an example in sci-fi and just thought, like a Star Trek or something like that. Like that's, there's always been like this weird relationship between like sci-fi and actual scientific discovery. People think of something that's cool that would solve a bunch of problems. They put it in, a 1970s episode of Star Trek, and then 30 years or so later, it becomes like a real piece of technology. So,
yeah, when I saw the prompt to video thing, I thought to myself, that actually fulfills like a childhood wish of mine. I remember being a little kid, and like, when you're a little kid, you think of like, what would you do with wishes?
Uh-huh.
Well, one of the things that I would wish for as like a little kid was I wanted to see new versions of my favorite cartoon over and over, which was Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner.
Uh-huh.
They weren't making new versions of this. They made it in the 1940s,
Right,
so they're just reruns. Wow. But I wanted a television channel that could like procedurally generate brand new episodes. I'm on the verge of having that.
Yeah, that's interesting, but I never even really thought about the potential for that. But yeah, if we get to the point, well, okay. So I don't know if anyone this might be a slightly deep cut, but recently, before it was shut down for breaching some unsavory topics. There was an online 100% AI generated Seinfeld clone, and calling it a Seinfeld clone is kind of like a very generous description of it, because all the dialogue and the visuals and the audio was all AI generated, and it ran 24/7 streaming on Twitch, and it was utter nonsense, but it followed like a general Seinfeld script. And like I said, we've seen the bare bones, like the initial rollout of this. Now it just has to get better. And I can't even imagine like taking, like Firefly was a show that was canceled before its time, and everyone was very upset about it. Can you imagine?
Brand new episodes of Firefly.
New episodes of Firefly. It would watch all the episodes in a fraction of a second and then spit out, an AI generated. New example.
I have actually seen people doing something similar on YouTube with their favorite YouTube creator, although I think some of them are fake. I think they like mix AI with their own voice
with
to
the
make
actual,
it,
or they just like put I know you can kind of put like someone's AI face
and
then just act like them. But I've seen recently this kind of came into the news with Bruce Willis. I don't know if you've seen, he's suffering from aphasia with like dementia related cognitive decline, and so he's not doing movies anymore, obviously. But he sold his physical likeness and the rights to reproduce him digitally to I'm not sure what movie studio, but basically in the future when this technology, I guess, is possible, in the entertainment industry, some MGM or whatever studio has the rights to physically or to digitally reproduce Bruce Willis and use him in future movies.
It's a concern that people already have. I don't know if you've seen or saw the recent Ghostbusters movie. They digitally reproduced Harold Ramis's face.
I heard about that. There was another example of that too that was even more hilarious. I can't think of it right now.
So they also made like an action figure of Harold Ramis's ghost, which I think kind of starts to cross the line. Yeah.
Now I remember we kind of got into this moral quandary when they used Michael Jackson's hologram on a stage. Like that's kind of a similar like concept. Like, is this really okay?
Who knows? We'll figure it out, I guess, or not.
It's not really for us to decide because the technology is coming, whether we like it or not.
I'm glad I don't have to decide it.
Yeah, I'm glad. I think the market will decide if people want it.
Anyway, so let's move on. Okay, so the big question is, can I invest in AI now?
Yes, you can. Take your money and save up and buy a share of Google. I'm just kidding. That's not actually the only way that you can invest in AI. It seems like it is, considering how dominant Google and Microsoft are in the AI space. But that's, the generative AI that runs on all these billions of data points that, Google owns. It's not the only example of AI that is out there. There are tons of other industries that, they don't need ChatGPT. They don't need words to be generated from a prompt. What they need is for an AI program to take in all of the huge amounts of data that they like energy. The energy industry uses, so much data in terms of utilities, delivery to customers, usage information, like the smart meters and stuff provide a little bit of information, but it's too much data for a person to dig through and make important decisions on. AI can kind of take in all that data, use the type of program that would be made by Google, and they can license the products and all that, but it is more specific and more flexible to be used in different industries. And I genuinely think that's right now, as we kind of wait for AI to take over the world, I think that's your best bet in terms of putting your money somewhere that will actually put it to work for you.
Okay, should I invest in AI right now? Because my question is it too early? I remember in the 1990s, we had things like electric vehicles. You could invest in electric vehicles, but it was too early back then.
Right, it didn't go anywhere.
Do you think AI development will be similar, or is it developing just too fast and that just doesn't matter?
Yeah, there's always, I think when something kind of like rockets into the public consciousness this fast, there's always concern about is this a bubble? I think that's probably one of the most searched topics besides can I invest in AI is is AI a bubble, essentially. And I really I think I don't think it's too early to invest in AI. I think we're kind of at perfect ground floor areas, but it's such a computationally demanding technology that at this point there hasn't really been many pure AI plays to distinguish themselves, if you know what I mean. Like I said, there are companies that are using AI for specific not niche purposes, but for things other than just the pure goodness of AI, not just ChatGPT where they're trying to expand language processing. Like I said, they're companies that are the energy sector leaves so much money on the table in terms of inefficient processes and just wasted energy essentially. And a good AI program that has enough data and the correct programming can essentially eliminate all that waste and optimize a business and save tons of money.
All right. Yeah. So, excuse me. Energy. finance. What other sectors do you think are going to be the most dynamically affected from AI?
So, I guess aside from I think it depends on which side of AI you're looking at. Like I think the industries that are going to be most affected most quickly, I think are going to be ones that are susceptible to programs like ChatGPT. Like complete disruption. And I don't know if that's necessarily good from an investor standpoint because, the last thing you want to do is put your money in a sector that is essentially going to crumble because, AI can just do it so much better, essentially. I don't think AI is poised to destroy any industries just yet, but if you're looking for multi-year investment play, I think customer service might be first on the chopping block.
Customer
If
service?
you ask me,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the chatbots have gotten already so good that not only are they going to be able to answer questions better than the robot telephone operator at your local bank, I think they'll be able to kind of integrate all this data analysis to basically sell you things too. And of course, nothing gets an industry more excited than upsell potential.
Yeah, they'd
So,
love that, right?
so eliminating a customer service department, which is kind of like one of those expenses that every business needs to have. Every business needs their liaison between the people buying their product. And if that's no longer a thing, then that means just about every business on earth can kind of slash a budget. Or at the very least, like I said, if it's not going to eliminate jobs, it's going to upgrade them. At the very least, one customer service rep could do the job of 10.
Yeah. So every new technology is going to invite a high level of scams. What are some of the red flags that investors might want to look out for? And let me give you an example. A lot of solar companies, or a lot of scam solar companies, they have like these CG presentations. Anytime I see a CG presentation as opposed to something like physical, like
Right,
they,
like a real product.
yeah, that's kind of a red flag for me.
Mhm.
What are some red flags that people want to look out for when they're considering AI investing?
Oh man, there's a good list of them. I think the number one issue that people are going to run into is just it's a difficult technology to understand. So it's going to be really easy to just kind of blind people with science. Use
Just a bunch of big fancy words.
right, and,
Yeah.
and just in the same way that I think a lot of people during the .com bubble, I think people didn't fully understand exactly what they were getting into, and that led them to kind of fall prey to people that offered things that were too good to be true.
Yeah, and just throw their money
Essentially.
at them
Right.
for FOMO.
Sure. Right. Exactly. Somebody told them that this was the big thing and they're going to miss out, and then they just launched in willy nilly. I think that's definitely a big hazard with AI is that it's kind of like we've seen a lot of people, a lot of less than reputable companies sort of essentially take ChatGPT, reskin it, and do what's it's kind of like the digital equivalent of a drop shipping scam, where like a drop shipping scam, if you haven't heard of it, is where a company will set up like a merchant website, like a fake Amazon with products that are marked up to insane levels, and then they'll do all sorts of marketing techniques to attract people to this website. And then once you place an order through their website, they'll just go to Alibaba or Amazon, buy the product for a third of the cost, sell it to you, and pocket the difference. That's essentially what we've seen with a lot of companies doing. They're doing essentially the same thing. They're
Just repackaging somebody else's product.
repackaging what is essentially ChatGPT or a similar language training project, paying them a little bit of like a license money if that's even if they're not outright stealing it, and then charging people like an admission fee, like it's an amusement park, to come on. It's like running an amusement park without owning the roller coaster, essentially. So and that's one of the things that would be tough for the average investor to spot if you're not well versed in this tech, which very few people are, considering it was just created.
I'm surprised that there aren't already a bunch of people trying to market Bitcoin. I don't know if you remember, there was like an iced tea company that just like
change
Yeah,
their
they
right.
just slapped the word blockchain on its name, and you know, became big. I'm surprised there aren't a million companies doing that right now.
Right.
Have you seen
To
that, or
AI.
maybe I'm just not paying attention?
No, I haven't actually seen that, surprisingly, because it seems like going from Ice T to Bitcoin seems like a more jarring transition than, you know, going from something like, I don't know, I guess if you're, no matter what business you're in, you could always realistically pivot to AI and say, I'm optimizing my business with AI. I'm making my business better with AI. Going from Ice T to Bitcoin is just kind of seems like a blatant, you know, attempt to surf the hype wave.
Yeah. Well, in my specialty in mining, mining companies will often switch their focus based on the whims of the markets.
Sure.
If there's like
We all
lithium, if there's a big lithium thing, they're lithium companies for 5 years, and
Right.
then they'll switch to
Yeah.
like nickel
Yeah.
or something else.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of companies end up, you know, X resources, or, you know what I mean? Because if you paint yourself into a corner there with just one, then you're right. You said you can't flip back and forth.
Yeah.
Hey, if it works, though, I guess people are going to keep doing it.
So what else should we be looking out for on the horizon? Let's say for the next 6 months for AI development. What should investors be looking for?
That's a tough one to nail down. I think in an industry moving this quickly, it's kind of
Moving too fast to tell?
I mean, I think we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants. I mean, it seems like every week there's a new, you know, when you sent me the text to video thing, I feel like that was something that I guess I assumed was the next step. But, you know, going from an image to a video is kind of a big, you know, it's a big step. It's not just like the next logical, like, oh, okay, I got a picture now, I'll do a video. Like that's, you know, that's a huge increase. I wasn't expecting to see it, you know, and if you haven't seen it, we should link it.
Yeah, can we link that?
Somehow link the video, because it's definitely worth watching if you haven't really been up to date on just how good this stuff is getting, essentially.
Awesome. Well, Luke, I really appreciate taking the time. This is really informative.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I am super excited for the future of AI.
Same, absolutely.
I think that, like I said earlier, anyone who is like, you know, not paying attention, not adapting, I think they're just going to be left behind.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think a lot of companies already are getting left behind. I wrote about it recently, but I can't believe that Alexa and Siri and all of these Google assistants and all of these assistants that have essentially been the AI that we've worked with. I can't believe that they're being left behind by what is essentially a newcomer. You know, I think if we don't see these, like Microsoft really dove in and upgraded Bing with ChatGPT, I think if Alexa and Siri and all these programs don't upgrade to AI, then they're done for. You know?
Yeah.
So I think that maybe that's what we'll be looking for, is to see whether or not
who's adapting and who's not.
Exactly. See if the lower level AIs survive the future.
Anyway, thanks again for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Listeners, please like and comment, subscribe. Check out our Discord and our Angel app. We'll put links in the app. And have a nice one.